My name is Corey Roberts, and I had the incredible honor and opportunity to study drums with the late, great Gary Chester, and author of The New Breed. I studied with Gary throughout high school and was a student and friend up until the day he passed. Many people in the music industry know that Gary was one of the most recorded drummers in history. He was a legend in the New York recording business and one of the most in-demand session players of all time. The list of hit records he played on is crazy to comprehend. A few of my favorites are the original Twist and Shout, My Boyfriend's Back, and all of the sessions he did with Burt Bacharach for Dionne Warwick. As Gary moved toward retirement, he dedicated himself to teaching and developed a very unique approach and philosophy to mastering independence and great feel on the drum set. One of the central philosophies in The New Breed is to train yourself to become competent reading a melody part while simultaneously maintaining capability to lock in any given bass line. This level of coordination is very central to Gary's systems. In The New Breed, there are 39 systems that are meant to be practiced along with the melodies in the book. The systems are what I consider to be top-line grooves, and usually what you have going on in top, which can be eighth notes or 16th note grooves, upbeats, broken 16ths, or any variation. While the 39 systems cover a lot of ground, they are, of course, open to variation and using your own creativity. Gary was very supportive of this. And in my following examples, I will incorporate my own subtle changes. From there, the goal is to comfortably incorporate bass lines to play with the systems and the melodies. While I will stick with one bass line for today, it is important to interchange bass lines regularly so that you don't get too comfortable with one particular bass line to the exclusion of others. Another essential element of Gary's systems is to practice singing various parts while practicing the systems, such as the quarter note, the upbeat, the melody you are reading, the bass line, etc. Learning to do this comfortably sounds way easier than it seems. Gary's reason for practicing singing those parts are, singing is like super learning, and it helps you to ingrain independence in your brain. Gary also used to say that practicing singing gives you ears. It opens another channel in your brain so that your drumming is more second nature and doesn't dominate your ability to really hear the other instruments, the dynamics, or the pulse of the room. The third is pure time. Gary's systems are always to be played with a click track, and I have found that singing is the fastest route to embedding a deeper level of consciousness as it pertains to time and the click. Yet another element of the systems is obtaining confidence playing both a right and left lead. Gary firmly believed that an open style of playing was key to unlocking ultimate coordination to support a composition. He also believed that a left lead was often more funky sounding because the right hemisphere of your brain, which controls the left side of your body, is more creative and willing to take more chances. Kenny Aronoff described in an interview I once read that he was playing a left lead groove and John Mellencamp heard that groove and he just loved the feel. That groove was immediately incorporated into the song Hurt So Good. Lastly, for the killer system, which is the hi-hat playing the rests of the melody as yet another exercise. Gary spoke a lot about great time. He referred to certain drummers whom he thought had perfect time, like Steve Gadd, for example. Gary strongly believed that the space between the notes is what really creates the groove. If you want a groove to sound fat, then begin by respecting the full length of the rests. That system opens up yet another channel in your brain as it pertains to time and the groove. For the first system, we're going to be taking basic eighth notes on the ride cymbal. We're going to take that bass line, we're going to put it on the bass drum, and we're going to read the melody with the left hand. Hi-hat's going to play the quarter notes, and we're going to sing the quarter note. And that's going to be the first system. For the next part of the system, we're going to stay right lead and eighth notes on the ride cymbal, but we're going to swap out the bass line and put it on the snare drum. Gary used to call it bass on snare. The melody is going to be read off the page with your right foot on the bass drum. The hi-hat is going to play upbeats, and we're going to sing the upbeat. Tick, 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 In this case, and a very important part of Gary's systems, was to play left lead. So simply, we're going to take the eighth notes that we played here, and we're going to play them with the left hand on the left cymbal. The bass line will be on the bass drum, and we're going to read the melody with the right hand. Quarter notes will be played on the hi-hat with the left foot, and in this case, we're going to sing the melody. In this system, we're going to stay on the left lead. We're going to play the eighth notes on the cymbal with your left hand, but we're going to do that bass on snare. So we're going to bring the bass line up to the snare drum. We're going to play the melody, read the melody with your right foot on the bass drum. We're going to play upbeats with your left foot, and we're going to sing the upbeat. Tick, 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 tick. In this system, we're going to go back to a right lead, except we're going to do just a little variation on the ride cymbal, broken 16th note kind of a groove. The bass line will be on the bass drum. We're going to read the melody with the left hand. We're going to have upbeats on the hi-hat with the left foot. And in this case, we're going to sing the melody with our left hand. In this system, we're going to go back left, and we're going to put it on the hi-hat with your left hand, with upbeats with your left foot. The bass line is going to be on the snare drum. You're going to read the melody with your right foot, and we're going to sing the bass line. In this system, we're going to go back to a right lead, and we're going to play a groove that Gary really liked called broken sixteenths, essentially taking the bass line on your right foot on the bass drum and playing the rests of that on the cymbal. And so on. We're going to read the melody with our left hand, quarter notes on the hi-hat with your left foot, and in this case, we'll sing the quarter note. In this case, we're going to go left with broken sixteenths, but we'll do it, and bass on snare, but we'll do a little bit of a different pattern that Gary used to like. It sounds something like this. In this case, the melody will be read with your right foot on the bass drum, upbeats on the hi-hat, and I'll sing the bass line. Now we're at the killer system, what Gary used to refer to as the sock cymbal playing the rests. What we'll do is we'll go back to the right lead basic groove. The bass drum will play the bass line. The melody will be played with the left hand reading from the page. And all of the rests of the melody will be played with your left foot on the hi-hat. and we'll sing the quarter note because I think that's hard enough. In this case, we'll stay right lead, hi-hat cymbal plays the rests, and it will be bass on snare this time. The hi-hat will be playing all of the rests of the melody while the bass drum plays the melody with the right foot. In this case, we'll sing the bass line. For those that didn't have the chance to know Gary, he was really a one in a million type of person. He was hilariously funny, thoughtful, honest, really tough when he needed to be, and he treated his students like his very own family. I can tell you firsthand that he was a gifted teacher, inspiring you to work hard, and also helping you to resolve other life issues, whether with money, friends, or family. Gary's studio in upstate New York was beyond cool and hard to describe. He had this great set of old Ludwig drums, and he would sit behind his desk during your lesson, and while you were playing, he would tap quarter notes on this incredibly cool ashtray that had this wonderful pitch. With Gary, it was never about speed or showing off. Rather, the focus was on time, dynamics, listening, reading well, independence, and an emphasis on making everyone else in a playing situation sound great. He was very insistent about that philosophy. Gary died in 1987, and his passing was a huge loss to the drumming community, especially as it pertains to the philosophy I mentioned and his teaching systems, which I will be partially demonstrating in this video. In reality, he was really just getting started, as the new breed had recently been published, and his legions of students around the world were still amassing and benefiting from his wisdom as a studio musician and master teacher. 35 years after its release, the new breed has become a drum instruction Bible, and I am thrilled that his legacy remains as strong as ever. His daughter, Katrina Chester, is the steward of Gary's legacy and the ever-growing list of drummers interested in Gary and the new breed. I am very grateful to Katrina and her family for her devotion to this endeavor. Among Gary's students were famous players like Dave Weckl, Tony Cruz, Gary Seligson, David Bell, Danny Gottlieb, Gary Gibbons, Tico Torres, Howard Joines, Bobby Sabella, Robert Boyd, Roger Post, Kenny Arnoff, Max Weinberg, and many other great players from around the world. The new breed and Gary's approach, referred to as systems, are very challenging and rewarding to master. The systems are not about building chops in the traditional sense, however, about developing 4- and 5-way coordination and incorporating a philosophy and open style of playing using both left as well as right lead. As a skilled studio musician, Gary believed that a drummer's physical limitations, specifically coordination, should never limit his or her ability to create a drum part that is just perfect for any given composition. This doesn't mean playing fast or overly complicated. However, once trained by these systems, a drummer is more comfortable playing in diverse situations and more equipped to create the perfect drum part. And from my perspective, that and perfect time is what drumming to support great music is all about. I hope this video provided some helpful perspective on the great Gary Chester and the new breed. The systems demonstrated, while just a small example of the overall approach, I hope provided a view into Gary's philosophy and will encourage you to incorporate the new breed into your practice routine. I have no doubt that any level drummer will find the systems challenging, fun, and will improve your coordination and confidence in bringing great time and feeling to any playing situation. Thank you for watching.